work with. He's going to have to hit a really big charge shot there. Dana coming through, not going to connect on these shots. He goes to the box, but President hits the shot, and that's another elimination for him.
And you talked about it. He needed to hit that big charge shot, holding it up and punishing the player, and particularly when you see two players box to box fighting with charged shotguns, it's really difficult if you're not able to get that finishing blow right away, like No Luck Nebby does there, finding Kira to close out the fight, because you can have—
Oh, Nebby, what? Don't even forget my point there. Nebby showing the power of the hunting rifle, showing up, catching two players on the outside. However, look in the bottom right-hand corner, a third player is now rotating by. So can Nebby get all of these resources and get out without getting engaged on? But those are two monstrous shots. He's got to feel confident there, and definitely not living up to his name. Plenty of luck going on.
And you took the words from my mouth. Nebby with an amazing aim there, just getting what he needed to get started. However, someone who is not having amazing luck is Janice right now. 134 effective HP. It means he fought either off spawn on rotation. Now he is going into the orchard, which does allow these campfires and the apples that drop that give you 5 HP per consume. He's going to be in a good spot. He's able to really farm up. But Janice drops Steamy stacks. And look at his metal count. It was only 97. Coming out of Steamy with only 97 metal is not what he's used to. And this is definitely impacting his game plan.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough there. Also, tons of players will know where he is, stoking that campfire, putting off the smoke signal. You can see him, those apples dropping, but instead opting to burn the extra wood. Good trade-off there and good awareness of where he was on the map. However, you do see Spen is lurking and trying to catch out the FNCS Invitational winner here. Janus over on the side, and he does. He gets him real quick. That's the problem. Again, we talk about it, the hunting rifle on the side. If you're not ready for it, it can be a game ender right there. You get caught out farming. And honestly, I think that's a little bit on Janice there. You don't want to be on the edge of the zone and caught gaining materials. Like, yes, you did just get in. You can feel safe. You're back up at that 100 health, 100 shield threshold. But you have to know other players are rotating from that side and going to be behind you. And Spen is actually going to get harassed there as he tries to rotate out. We're going to hop on over to a three-way fight going on over here.
Oh, and now already down to just two players. Controller getting into the boxes and getting the shots, picking up two eliminations back to back. Flecken gonna fall there, and these are what you need to do in solos. You need to get into the box and you need to finish the eliminations quickly, because like we saw, if you come and you fight and you box fight and you build fight, and more people are gonna come and they're gonna realize that, and you are going to fall. So a very good play there from Controller.
And so far, it's been the story of the third party. You hear players talk about it all the time, whether it's your friend or your favorite streamer. That third party is the extra player who comes in. So if you're taking a 1v1 and then somebody else rotating by says, oh, you guys are preoccupied. First, we saw Nebby picking up the two shots there, and then Controller closing it out with that epic tactical shotgun. Going to be on board here with Ovation Orion. Number of plays, but again, really good at kind of those ambush style tactics, as you can see here, trying to set up a little bit on this player who's rotating in front of him. You can see the map in the bottom right-hand corner. That is the next storm zone revealed. So you can see we're pulling a little bit central. We're just kind of south of the authority, or just over the authority, with a little bit of a southwestern side there. So most of the players will have time. The Slurpy Swamp players will have tons of priority, and Storm Surge has just turned on, which is something you might not be familiar with if you're watching there. So Storm Surge is actually on in every game, but is only activated when you're above a certain number of players left. That number of players for the third zone is 70. So with 83 players currently left, 13 will be impacted. What it does is those who haven't done enough damage to the opposing players will then take 25 damage every 10 seconds. It's to try and encourage a little bit of active play, which we see here from Orion taking out Queasy, who's going to be queasy about that, just being game ended right there before the rotation occurs, not picking up any points in that match.
And what a smart play. He went in different angles and didn't just crash pad off the top, because he knew Queasy would have been expecting that, and found an angle, got in the box, got the elimination. That also, with Storm Surge, it causes people to make plays like that. Arion may have decided that, you know what, a couple tags were good, I'm good to go, move on. He's put him pretty high up in the Storm Surge, but he didn't want to take the chance. He wanted to make sure he was above at least 100 damage on the threshold. So he decided, I got to go in, I got to get in the box, because when Storm Surge starts hitting you, nobody's going to let you shoot them. No one's going to let you even look at them. They're going to be sitting in their boxes. They're going to sit there and wait. and not even open windows, not even make any movements, because they know, hey, that guy's getting hit by a big purple lightning bolt. We can't attack him. Well, all of a sudden Phoenix is actually going in, but maybe a little bit of a misplay as he gets eliminated.
Gets punished right away, and Tigwe has everything you could possibly want for a box fight there. I mean, just look at the loadout, having the epic tactical shotgun, the epic burst AR, crash pads, plenty of shields. So Phoenix might have felt a little pressure to go in and create some space, but Tigwe punishing very succinctly there as now we swing on board. Milan, Seventor, Kiko, and Anas all directly on top of each other. They become legends. Anas has played incredibly well. Clement also joining in on the party, and this is what we talk about, that storm surge. All the players who below, Anas being one of them, are going to be forced to find tags. That damage is going to start coming through. He's going to need to convert on it, and he converts brilliantly there, picking up Supremacy's Clement in #1 elimination, and also closing in on that first placement threshold, Clay.
It was such a beautiful play by Anas because he knew Clement had that bush. He said, you know what, he's going to go for the pickaxe. I'm just going to go ahead and edit that wall out so he can get the initial shot, and that got him the elimination. That initial shot there gave him the damage just to follow up with another tack shot. And with that rare tactical shotgun, it does a lot of damage if you're able to hit all the pellets, and that's exactly what he did. Now, on his way, he got the pepper placement threshold, just came through as well, and now he's moving in. He's got a very great loadout to secure himself a very good placement here, and we know Anas is very, very capable, like you talked
this rotation path, get us close to center of zone. So if you're kind of new to watching competitive Fortnite, joining for the first time in Party Royale or Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or watchfortnite.com, what do you care about as you're watching this game as Anas will take it down, or what are you looking for? Mongrel and Thomas HD also picking up eliminations to put us below the Storm Surge threshold. The first thing is whether or not people are picking up eliminations. You can see that to the right of the player's name that's right next to kind of the little mark there. And that will represent 1 point every single time as they go through. Additionally, you're worried about them picking up placement points. In this format, the first one occurs after 25 players have gone down, then the next one occurs after 50 players have gone down, then it's every 10 and 5 players. So when somebody ends up falling in 41st or 31st or 26th, that's a huge changeover. But now, during the middle part of the game, as everyone's rotating through, what they're looking to do is establish space for themselves, make sure they're safe, and then find tags so they're not threatened by that storm surge that we were talking about ahead of time. As now we hop on board here with MCS like Squeezy, who has placed top 25 in 78% of his games this FNCS, best in the EU, and that's something to contrast with the fact that he also plays really aggressive in the early and the mid game. If he gets caught out and he's able to convert, he's had some of the highest elimination totals throughout the entirety of the FNCS, Clay.
And I was going to say, I'm surprised he's not going into this player's box that's literally just fishing in front of him. Someone else tried it, and he's waiting. You can tell he wants to get into this box. As soon as he sees that player start to make moves into the other box, or maybe he finds out exactly where they are, he wants to go in, but he's got Letwick right above him, so you can tell he's being a little bit more cautious this time around. And the Heat and the Qualifiers, he really had a little bit of leeway after that great performance that he had. He was able to play a little bit more aggressive and still get top 25, which is insanely effective. Now, the biggest impact of the game right now is going to be the shockwave launcher in Thomas HD's inventory. He's already got the elimination because he's also already here the next zone. Doesn't have to rotate very far, which is really good for him because he only has 94 materials.
He only has 94 materials, and he's right by the priority on high zone. It's the 4th zone, which means it's the last safe zone that's completely inside the current safe zone. After that, the 5th one will be the half in, half out, which kind of signals the transition into the end game as Thomas helps end Sebi's game there. He's going to be sent back and have to queue up after that, and Thomas hits him with a favorite emote. Hey, if you got that emote and you're in Party Royale, mimic it right now. Let Thomas know you're with him and sending him the aid, because he has a really good shot to ride this game out with where he's positioned, because after the 4th zone, you don't want to head super central. So all of a sudden, if that half in, half out zone pulls to the south and is on this high ground, and he has all the shockwave launcher plus a launch pad plus the mythic charge shotgun, it's going to be really difficult
And he's already doing that just with his AR. He impacted Sebi. He's going to take down passive. And this is very, very good for him because he doesn't have to go too aggressive to get these eliminations. They're kind of being handed to him here as he's just taking a grasp of his surroundings, looking at every possible angle and getting eliminations. And speaking of that, Mr. Savage going to pick up an elimination there onto Verstroki.
Yeah, and you can see that action kind of being driven as players are forced to rotate in and start to get priority position, because it's not only just about being safe here, it's about establishing yourself for the next rotation, because that half in, half out is so important in terms of priority. But right now, Reason is 5 below the damage threshold. So once this zone clears, he'll start ticking. You want to keep an eye on the top left and then the bottom right-hand corner. That number will need to drop down to 50 players before Storm Surge turns off. And if anybody we're watching is below the threshold, they'll start taking that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And Reason just able to get himself above it with a nice tag there, and he's starting to get aggressive. We talk about the utility of the crash pads. We saw it in the package beforehand in Ball and Child. Talked about how good he can be aggressive on the low ground, and he gets PT there, which is a huge elimination as well, because he pulled that half in, half out zone we talked about. Everyone who banked on it being up on the high ground saying, hey, if it pulls up here, I can win the game. Well, they were wrong. It pulls away from them, and they'll be the ones who have to rotate as we hit top 50, meaning Storm Surge turns off, the second round of placement points goes through, and everyone is going to be rotating.
You saw Savage was waiting with that edit open. He was looking for any possible angle to pick up an elimination. Lois as well. He's kind of fashioned himself a little bit of a base here that's got these pyramids edited in a nice way so you can see down on players rotating. And this is where you want to be. If you do pull half in, half out, you want to be looking for players. You don't want to be exposed, because obviously that you could get sniped like Lois might do here. Some people, Mongrel picks up an elimination as well, so he's still here in this game and still fighting as well. And Lois is trying to sneak somebody out of the sky and was not able to hit it, but a valiant effort.
Valiant effort, but just a little wide. Might have given him the haircut, but not going to connect. No Storm Surge tags in play there as we see Kami pick up a huge elim. Both trying to get involved here. Finds the first tack shot, gets the second onto Vadil, who had picked up Savage. Savage and down early, only picking up an elim and the 2 placement thresholds. 3 points for him there as we continue to
Froggy end up on, how many points did the rest of the lobby end up on as this game continues to go on. We see Curiosity, we see Mongrel, we see Letwick there in your screen as well, and Froggy looks to have taken high ground with that. The shots go through, he's going to get that player down to low HP. It's Cammy going down. What a huge pickup there by Froggy, but he's not done yet. There's another player on the other side, so he does disengage, so he does have mats to build around with and to just drop down layers if he wants to. It seems he's content on focusing around high ground.
Yeah, and Benji and Hen also picking up a pair of elims there in the feed as we close in on the next placement threshold. It'll be top 30, and then every 5 players going down. Storm Surge will also turn off his top 30, and we're closing in on it. There it is. Scouts picking up a pair to make sure he gets there. That's Adian and Diablo, who we saw yesterday going down. Thomas also goes down, and then Become Legends Rifle picks up Benji Fishy. Deceptos ends up getting Skite as well going down there. Lecce picking up Styler, but we're still on board here with Quartz Froggy, and we saw how much work he can do on the mid-ground tarp here, and he's continuing to run through with that charge shotgun, picks up scouts as well, and we're in through another placement threshold. So this is what happens as we start getting in the moving circles. All the action for us, so keep an eye. Flois all the way up on the high ground. Kiko has priority on the low ground, and then everyone else is the tarp in between. But Hen and Reason are still up on the mid-tarp.
I think Flois was able to pick up that shockwave launcher from what it looked like. He may have used the crash pad to take it, but Mongrel, I believe, going to fall there on the backside. Rezon still in this game, getting eliminations. Hen, thing on 4. Crash pad will come out here for Hen. He does have a lot of materials left. Carrot picking up 3 eliminations there on the backside. As shots come through on the Hen, he is going to be able to block it off, and the capitalization there on the staging will be good as he realized already losing HP. Kinsel going to take down a player there as well. A not going to fall. Lois does have it, what it seems like a crash pad maintain high ground, but that's never coming up.
The leaderboard shakes out. We're going to toss it back on over to Zeke, Shia, and Bob.
Man, a strong start here in EU, really coming out with a nice flow. Flois finding himself to Victory Royale. Guys, this final fight between Froggy and Flois, both players walk into that 1v1 with 5 eliminations. The Elim and the Victory Royale is going to be that 4-point swing. This is gonna be a good tone setting for the rest of the competition.
We saw it in every region, right? 1 point matters, and that's a 4-point difference for that win and the Elim. The coolest thing, though, to me was the versatility for Flois and how he was playing every single engagement differently and using his entire kit to be able to hold first overall in Europe right now. 6 eliminations, 20 points, and that Victory Royale.
Yeah, but there's also other people lurking near too, and with only the first game, don't forget there's 6. People are starting to establish themselves. I see Hen in 3rd place right now with 15 points, a sign that he could actually be on that hot streak. Hen, a very hot and cold player. Letwick, though, played significantly well yesterday, and he's there again in towards the top placements, and also with a couple elims to put himself in 4th place, but Kinsel too. And then the rest of this, I think, is kind of maybe a little different than what we might expect in towards the end of the day. You have Carrot, you had Deceptos, you had a Nas. I mean, there are some of these guys who have the potential to win for sure, but I don't know if that's quite it yet.
Yeah, I think at the top, I mean, obviously this is such a strong start. 20 points for Flois. Now, he's off the line, but he needs to take that next step and turn this into a full-on sprint toward the end. Is this the momentum he needs to do this, though?
Yeah, I mean, for all the people over here, that's the same kind of question, right? And if you haven't seen the standings leaderboard before, the eliminations are the total overall over the 6 games we're playing, as well as the points. And that's a combination of the placement and elims these guys have. So Lecce got 5 points of placement that game in 22nd place, and 2 eliminations. That's 1 point each. But for these guys, they're kind of sitting at 30th place. They don't have to go for a top 25 anymore. No one has to go for top 50. Everyone here is focused on that win, and they're just slightly behind. Still, though, really hot off the gate.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that people have to figure out on this first game. There are a lot of things and changes to what people might have been expecting. The plans, Zeke, you talked earlier about how these guys are all starting to do their research and whatnot. It shifts a little bit in grand finals. People start to make decisions and play with the mind a little bit of each other to, force things that you might not be comfortable with.
A lot of that is going to dictate that drop spot, right? And how that could, we're talking about 100 of the very best in the world. If I'm going somewhere and my peer is going somewhere that I'm used to playing with and against, that is going to dictate my play and theirs.
It always starts from the early game, right? Just in general, the entire tournament, from game number 1, your mentality is set in if you do well, if you do bad, and now everyone has different expectations. If you're like Flowis, you're at the top spot. You guys mentioned it. Now it's a game of endurance, of holding it and not faltering when things go bad.
And in the grand finals, we have seen tournament after tournament. Being uncontested increases your chances of winning tournaments by tenfold, if not more than that. So being uncontested means you have nobody landing with you. You might be familiar with landing in a hot spot. You don't want to be...
Savage and Noah Riley are side by side at the yacht on the northern side of the map. 2 other big names all the way at Slippery Swamp, Kiriachi and then Benji Fishy.
Noah Riley was not supposed to go to the yacht with Mr. Savage. Mr. Savage had thought that he had done enough to force nobody to land with him throughout the heats. But you know what changes now for Benji is that Noah was going to be landing in the same main building. And of course, Noah did not want to do that challenge. One of the best players in the world at all farm fighting.
Europe, you can actually in Sundown play, but that's the way.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shayo, and Bala. And I'm just so excited to see because I'm a personal fan, or I'm an advocate for the fact that game 1 is a nice one to set the tone, but you really get an idea of how the leaderboard and how the lobbies are going to play after game 2, because particularly with solos, it's about consistency. Who's able to turn over performance from one game to the next and continue it rolling, and you're really able to see that going down in the second half.
And into the third as well. If you're able to bounce back in that third, if you really set yourself at the top, you've got a chance. And that fourth extra 6 seconds really turn online. Benji is going to go down and go O'Reilly in this lead. So the contestant happened and Savage unfortunately falling. Looks like Benji is trying to take down Curiosity in the time being.
Yeah, Benji trying to set up one of those ambushes here on the side. You can see him trying to pick off Kiriachi as he's going right for those slurp jugs. He is going to find the initial burst shots there, opting not to use that sniper rifle and instead closing the gap on him as fast as possible. We'll see if he's able to get it. White Tags coming through, using the tac shotgun and the high rate of fire to push through the box. And well done, Benji. We talked about the contestant over there, and he says, 0 out of 10 for the effort. The Russian judge doesn't even give him a point. Benji taking it down there, and that's 2 elims right off of the start for him there. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, the 2 most contested areas are Rig and Salty Springs, each with 5+ players right now. So a lot of space being pushed out, and it's interesting to see 5 players in Salty. I mean, effectively, you're all taking one house of loot and saying, I hope this is enough.
Yeah, I don't know why 5 players are there. I think it has to do something with Rezon. He scared everybody away from Holly Hedges. Anybody that normally landed in that path said, no, I'm just going to go try my chance at Salty there. As we are now over to the Fortia, this is Mongrel, and he's been dropping here for a while. We know that. But he does not have Ocean's Burst AR and Ocean's Bottomless Chug Jug. Someone else may have snagged it from him, and with his aim and with what he can do with it, that Mythic Burst AR is so good here from him. But it looks like he's not going to need it now, as he's going to get some tags going into this fight. That player going to have to back out. Mongrel, though, not going to let him do it. He's got to be careful. He is running out of AR ammo, but he says, you know what? Who needs an AR? I got a shotgun and a crash pad. I'm going into the box. He is going to miss the jump a little bit, almost deploying a crash pad there, but the continued pressure that he's keeping up is trying to keep this player from going any higher, and it's Smudge just trying to get away. He's got a little sliver of HP, but Mongrel going to get in the box and do that Mongrel classic and get the elimination.
And he had to resolve that fight right away, because even picking that up with the additional match drop now only has 52 materials. And while he is in the zone, since it did pull towards that south side, he's going to need to find it. And with so many other players around this area, it's going to be really hard to max out quickly. But now let's hop on board with our match number 1 winner. As you can see, the format in the right-hand side, each elimination being worth a point. You can see once you get into that top 10, you'll have 8 placement points going through, all the way up to 14 for first. Then you can see 11th through 15th is 7, 16th through 20th is 6. It's the intervals of 5, then the intervals of 10, and of course, you get that first placement point after the first 25 players have gone down. So still plenty of players who need to drop here, which generally is a little slower from EU. You'll typically see a little more aggression going on. However, as you get further and further on into tournaments, the stakes and the players become that much more difficult to fight against, and it's really hard to confidently take an early fight, as we have Rax and the Costa Rican Sebi in a battle over here.
Ooh, and Rax on the back. Again, the shots are going to go through. He's going to get the initial damage, and he's going to follow up with the AR. The crowd spam, and it's going to pay off for him. The elimination comes through, but now the question posed for Sebi is, can he go get Hit's loot? Can he go get the Shockwave launcher and that charged shotgun, or will he settle for some of the Vault loot?
And generally, that's the goal. It's to go through, get whatever you can from the weather station, resolve a fight there, and then head down and hopefully pick up the remnants of whatever happened at Caddy Corner. But now we're going to swing on over to Authority, where we have Letwick. We're in match number 1. He was able to steal away that mythic glider grapple gun and just kind of rotate out. But now, match number 2, you can see Hardfind over on the side, and Hardfind looking to set up a trap and a bait. And we've seen this before a number of times, particularly around that vault area, where there are some areas you can't build. Players look to have just an immediate drop, but Letwick is set up really well in terms of his close quarters combat. Just having that epic SMG as well as the tactical shotgun and a legendary pistol means he has 3 really high rate of fire weapons that give him plenty of abilities to just spam and pressure Hardfind, who's going to be looking for an ambush here in a second. But right now, both players just farming up.
And it seems like they're respecting each other's areas of this Authority. They kind of know, hey, he's going to be over here. I can tell by how he's looted. I know Letwick's going to be in this side because I know how he looted from Hardfind's perspective. But what concerning about this is the players that are around. Carrot is there as well. You got 2 other players on the side. But Letwick is playing this very well. He's hitting some things, and then he's standing still. because that's how the henchmen act. If they walk around, sometimes they'll hit stuff that's in their way, and then they'll stand still as you see one moving there. On the other side, we've got Wolfies, who's in a fight against some Marauders. Hopefully he's able to get out of those. The Marauders are very, very potent. They shoot you, they throw stakes at you, and they just will try to eliminate you at all costs. And they've got very, very good aim, especially with that hunting rifle there in the inventory of the Deadeye Marauder. Wolfies is pretty low, but he's got Ardent pretty low as well, 150 HP. Now the Marauders are coming in here. The third party this fight. Sometimes the third party does not always have to be an actual player. It can be the AI. This is really good for Wolfies. He's allowing the Marauders to go after this player and go after him for him and get the initial damage. But if he goes in, he's got to be careful. He can't look to go in right away with all these Marauders around. If he doesn't do any damage to him, they're going to be very, very, very hard to build through and walk through. As you see, the builds are going to get broken. This is bad for Wolfies. He needs to get rid of the Marauders.